hard. And she said, well, she started asking the why question, well, why do you want to do this? And why does this matter? And why is this important? And I thought, well, I don't know. I don't know. And I started thinking and the thought there was I just wanted to finish something because I'd always quit things. I wanted to finish something and feel the satisfaction of not quitting because then I wouldn't feel like I failed. So when I finished that challenge, I had this kind of fire in my belly, like I'd finished something. I felt comfortable in my skin. I had just had my 5th child and I was excited about fitness and just feeling good, and I wanted to help other people, and that was my why. That's what I would share with people. That's what I wanted to do. Well, at first I would share it, people would get excited, and then I would hear a lot of like, oh, that's great for you. Oh, that's great for you. And I kept thinking, like, I don't think I can do this business. Like, this is me. This is for me. This is for me. And I kind of felt like it was not strong enough. I didn't think it was relatable. I had all of these criticisms in my head, but I wanted to do the business. And the weird thing about it is I knew why I wanted to do challenge groups, but I didn't know why I wanted to do the business. I couldn't figure it out. And it was that fall that I joined, Summer hosted a Diamond in the Rough. And she said, in order to get a Diamond in the Rough, you had to make SC5. So I shot for it and I made it for the first time because I'm one of those people, when you give me a goal, I'm going to go for it. And I got in the group, and one of the things she kept talking about, she shared her why. And I remember her sharing her why and other coaches sharing their why. And when Summer talks about, like, Chad leaving and this big emotional, and I'm thinking, I don't have that. Like, I was struggling. I mean, the comfort in my skin thing is good and it's helping me reach out to people, but I also was battling because I didn't want to be a working mom. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom who has this business. And so I was trying to figure out, because to me it had a negative connotation. Before moving to Ohio, my husband and I lived in New Orleans, and between the two of us, we had 6 or 7 jobs just trying to make ends meet. And I didn't want to have that. We moved to Ohio, so I didn't have to work. So there was this battle. Okay, I enjoy doing this. I want to make, something of it, but I don't want this working thing. And they have all these powerful stories, and I don't understand. And I remember she challenged us to make a video about why we wanted to coach. And I think I did like 7 takes because I kept messing up and feeling self-conscious. And at one point, it hit me when I was talking that was in November. And for the past 2 months, my husband had been gone every single weekend. He works in ministry for a nonprofit. And in order to make ends meet and me not work, he took all these extra speaking engagements. So he was traveling to do retreats and conferences every weekend. So I was home every weekend with all 5 kids. And then on top of that, he worked evenings and to do things with high school kids. That's when they meet. And so all of a sudden it hit me, if I could make this business work, we could have more time and we could be a family, and he wouldn't have to be exhausted when he's home. And I thought, like, okay, like, that's it. Like, I want this for time. I want this to have time with him so we can go out and on a date. I want time with our kids on the weekends where I'm not stressed trying to take my kids everywhere, and we want a big family. So it was like it clicked in my head, and it was really a like eye-opening moment for me because I started to understand it. But then what happened after that was I found my why. I pushed for a little while in the business. I got to diamond rank as a coach. I was super excited. I got to go on the cruise. I met all these amazing people. I heard their stories. I saw all of these coaches like excelling to like elite and 5-star. And I thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a 5-star elite diamond coach. And I'm going to, double my husband's income in a year. And I had all these crazy, not in a bad way, but crazy big dreams that I wanted to do. And they were all wrapped up in it. It was going to, give us time. And then that summer, I got pregnant with baby number 6, and I started to feel sick. I had to be on progesterone shots, so I couldn't exercise. At the same time, my best friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 4, and we didn't know how much time we had. Thankfully, she's surviving and beating it, but at the time it was hard. My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, all in a matter of 3 months. And all of a sudden, that time thing hit me in the face in a new way, because it wasn't just about the fun. It was like my why and the emotions became more serious. And I knew that the only way to get to where I want to be is I had to be more intentional, which is what we've been learning in the John C. Maxwell for anyone who's been doing it. I had to be more intentional. And it was hard because when I made this decision, I was feeling sick and I wasn't feeling good. And it was hard for me to press play when I'm getting progesterone shots. And I had all of these reasons telling me it wasn't going to work, but I didn't want to give up because I've seen coaches do wonderful things for their families, and I wanted that. So I kept doing the best I could, shooting for the basics every month, trying to just hit that SC5, reaching out to people, inviting, doing the best I could. And at the end of the year, I remember in December feeling like I didn't reach my goals because I didn't become a Star Diamond coach and I didn't match my husband's income and all these huge, huge, huge dreams that I wanted to hit in like 6 months. I didn't hit. And I remember that's my battle. I'm hard on myself, and I also was struggling because I was kind of midway through my pregnancy and trying to figure out how to relate to people. And there were just a lot of things battling me, but I still knew I wanted that time. Like I wanted to have more time. And so at the end of the year, when I sat back and looked at things, I realized, I might not have hit the finish line yet, but there were some mile markers that I had hit and I needed to recognize them and I needed to be thankful for them. So what I recognized was we went on our first ever family vacation the summer before and I helped pay for it. And we had paid off a credit card and I had helped do that. And my husband and I were going on a date night once a week, and I was paying for that. And that was like things I had to recognize as ways of feeding my why to see that I was achieving it. It just wasn't going to be as fast. I had to be patient. So in January, my husband was offered a job to be a principal of a high school at a private school. And this is kind of like his dream job. But we've never been able, he left teaching a while ago because it's really hard to raise a family off of that salary. It's just, it's enough, but not quite enough when you have now 6 kids. And when he was offered the job, we sat down on paper and figured out his income and then mine from the year before. And my income perfectly matched up his side jobs. So he could take the job. And at that moment, my why really hit me because I thought, oh my gosh, like this is huge. He can have his dream job. He will be home more. And I did it. I'm not hitting 6 figures here. It wasn't a ton of money compared to what we see other people make, but it was huge for us because he's starting in July. He's nervous, but excited. He'll be on the same schedule as my kids. Like it was huge. And I thought, like, I need to be thankful for that and not so focused on the finish line. And we tell this to our challengers all the time. They want to lose 30 pounds. You got to 1 pound at a time. It's the same thing with achieving our why. And so I felt really blessed for that. And I celebrated it with him. We were excited. I shared it with my team, just to show them that it's not just the big end result. It's the journey. And so that happened in January. And then we had another series of some crazy things that happened. It's been a rough year. Another friend of ours passed away, and then my grandmother passed away. And when I went home for my grandmother's funeral, I was starting to kind of struggle because I just had a baby and I'm trying to figure out how to balance everything. And the whole thing here is that it's been a roller coaster. It's not like it's smooth sailing. But my drive to stay with it was that I wanted that time. And I could, see little results and markers, but there were times that it was hard, and that's when I had to dig back in. And when I went home for my grandmother's funeral, my mom was there, and my mom and I are extremely close. My whole life, she, besides my husband, is my best friend, and she's always been like the person in my corner. And when I went home to see her, she's not well. Like the reality of her Alzheimer's was just, it was hard. And I realized I don't have the time I thought I had. And so my immediate thing when I got in the car and I was driving home from the trip is I called my husband and I said, look, I need to see my mom more. I want to go visit her more. And he was totally okay with that. You know, I want to bring my girls to do that. I want to grow this business so that I can do that and it not be a burden to our family. And he said, like, absolutely. And it was more of a sense of urgency. So when I got home, I started getting more organized. It motivated me to get more organized because I want that time with my mom. And, you know, it's not only motivated me in that way, but it also motivated me to start sharing more about what this business has done for me, because what I realized through that experience and through what I've been going through this past year is your why is important to you, but it will also matter to somebody else. You know, it's not just about you. And if you keep it to yourself, the number one thing I wanted to share tonight that is like the killer of and thief of a why is comparison. You will get caught in comparison. I don't know how many of you guys, you know, comparison's the thief of joy. Like you look at another coach and think, well, I'm not there. I'm not this person. I don't make that. I mean, I'm in a leadership group with a push group and people are getting added all the time as like 3-star diamond. And I'm still sitting at diamond. Even tonight, I'm like, I don't know what I have to say. I'm just a diamond coach. And it's like, you can't think that way. But what happens is we keep all this stuff in our heads and we don't share it. And then we start to think it doesn't matter. But there are 3 things I wanted to share with you to overcome that comparison tonight, kind of 3 tips and 3 things that I've learned that I think could really help you because it's helping me. And that's how to grow your why, how to grow it and keep it strong, because it's really your why is you. It is the value that you add to others. It is the value that you're giving your family. It's not, you know, it's might be wrapped up in goals you want to hit, but it's for me, it's part of who I am. It's part of what I value. And so the first thing you want to do with your why is feed it. It's emotional. It's like a plant, whatever you want to call it. You know, your why is something that needs to be fed. So how do you do that? Well, first I would say you want to come up with basic baby step momentum type goals that show you the progress you have to reaching it. If I had from the beginning set those momentum goals of the date night and the family vacation and the things that I was doing, and like then I would have recognized when I hit the salary enough for my husband to take his job. And so I've learned that lesson. So this year I set momentum goals. I have a credit card I'm trying to pay off. We're trying to be medical and credit card debt free by the end of the year. We're looking at putting an addition on our house because there's 8 of us in a 1,500 square foot house. It's very tight. And those are momentum goals I've set to make those payments and to do those things to help, you know, my coaches achieve what they want to achieve in their business and to devote that time to help coaches to grow. And I'm setting specific goals that are measurable. And I've even put them on like a dream board kind of collage to look at, because that way when I start to feel like I'm struggling, I can see what I've done. And I can see how close I'm getting to where I need to be. Or if I'm not there, I can look at the concrete steps I need to take to get there. And that you need to have that, because otherwise I think what happens is we get so caught up in the emotion, we think it's going to instantly happen. And it's not. This is a business and you do have to work. You can't just want it and it's going to happen. So I would say feeding it with those momentum goals and the things that are going to help you feel and see physically that you're reaching it is a big one. The second thing I think is really important is to share it. You need to share your why. You need to be sharing it with your challengers. You need to be sharing it with your team. You need to share it with your family. For me, I blog. I love to write. I write blog posts. I make short videos on Facebook. And I'm not saying on the video like this is my why, but I'm talking about the things I value, time with my family, celebrating financial freedom, things that we've done. Not only does it help other people, but then you get excited about it. And when they see you excited, it motivates others to dig into their why. It creates more of a ripple effect. At Leadership Retreat in Palm Springs, one of the most amazing things about that weekend was how much everyone shared. They shared about why they do this. And it brought me home feeling so blessed to be a part of something where it matters more than just a paycheck. It means more than just a paycheck. And yes, the paycheck is nice, but it's more than that. And if you're not sharing it, if you're not comfortable talking about it, if it's just, captive inside of you, then people won't know you, and you can't live it. So I really want to encourage you to take that time to not be ashamed of it. If your why is not making you cry when you tell the story, it's okay. I mean, some people do. There's times, on that retreat, I was crying like the whole time. I'm going to chalk it up to pregnancy hormones. But there's times I'll talk about things with my mom and I'm very emotional, but there's times I don't, and I'm not going to be fake about it. Be real. For some people, it's not that, and that's okay, because you are in this business because there are certain people that need you. There are certain people that value what you value, relate to what you have, relate to what you can give, that I can't, that Kimberly can't. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be real about that. And by sharing that about you, it's going to draw that strength out of them. And that in turn feeds you, because everybody wants to be a help to someone else. That's why we do this. So I definitely want to challenge you guys to share it. If you haven't made a video sharing your why, I recommend making a video to share, or writing up something that you would share. I think it's a great tool to send. I had one I made, I need to actually remake it, but that we share in Coaching at a Glance, why I coach. And it's helpful for people just to get to know you and to see that. And then the third thing I think that's important with your why is to constantly revisit it, to revisit why you started, to revisit that initial feeling you had, because you're going to have times that are hard, that you're burned out, I know I'm juggling a lot right now, literally, with all my kids. They're coming home for the summer. I'm going to have 6 kids at home, all under the age of 11. And if I don't revisit my why, it's going to be really easy to get frustrated and not do the things I need to do every day to keep this business growing. So how do you strengthen it and revisit it? Well, personal development, which you guys hear all the time, I'm sure, and we all hear it, but it's important. You need to be feeding and digging deeper, because when you revisit your why, it's like letting those roots of that plant get more deeply rooted and more solid. You want to solidify it when you revisit it. Like mine started off with comfort in my skin, then time with my family. Now it's time with my mom. Like it's time, creating memories. And now it's even evolved to the point that I want to help my coaches be able to create that for them, to help other people create that for them because of how it's blessing our family. And so when I revisit it, I read a lot of personal development books from like John C. Maxwell, because I relate to what he talks about, but also like Holly Girth, because she talks about God-sized dreams and those things. Personal development that's going to feed you where you are and help you is huge. I think journaling, writing things down, making a dream board, revisiting your dream board, adding to your dream board, starting small but dreaming big. Like there's gulp goals or vomit goals, whatever you want to call them, but going back to that and remembering, because we can get really caught up in the daily duo or the business activity tracker and forget why. So we need to go back and revisit it. And I think when you're setting your goals for the month is a good time to revisit your why. And if you have a success partner or a push partner, I think talking with them about it is a good way too, because if that person is someone you're close to, they will validate it for you when you're struggling with it yourself. So I think it's just really important to take that time, because otherwise, I think when people quit at this business, it's usually because of comparison. And I think the reason comparison hurts us so much is because we lose focus on the importance of our why and how it needs to be really rooted in who we are. And I think it's more powerful than you know. Every coach that you hear at Summit get up and tell their story, even if you're like them or not, it moves you because it's who they are and it's inspiring. And you have that too. It's not just them. Every person has that. It just takes that step to start thinking about it and just knowing it's something that has to be cultivated and it grows with you. So that's what I had to talk about. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Well, that was great, honey. I loved it all. I wrote down lots of things that I had been thinking about or writing from my own personal development this week. And so when you I love when you start to hear the same thing repeated over and over from the people that you're talking to, even though you're not on the same call, but you're talking about the same thing. So something that you were talking about that I'd just been talking about with Summer, because I guess they did it at Dynasty. So with Danny Johnson, is really being grateful and writing down whatever it is, the 5 or 10, they call them sprouts, each day of things that you're grateful for. And so you kind of touched on that, just on the little things that we need to really focus on and be grateful for, instead of getting caught up on the, oh, I didn't hit diamond or 1 star, or I'm not making 6 figures, or I'm not this rank, or I'm not this, whatever, the comparison trap. But, there's so many little things that you guys are doing. I mean, number one, you can put being on the team call. Like, that's a sprout. That's important. That's something that 13 of us are doing and 80 people on the team aren't. Like, not to say that some of them won't listen to it, but they all won't. Like, that's something that you guys are doing to grow your business. And I'm here to tell you, like, those things work. I remember plugging into, and still all the calls that I plug into, and sometimes I don't want to. I just want to skip it. I don't want to do it, but I have to, because I know that that's what's growing my business. And another great example of a sprout that I think people overlook is when you're new in the business and maybe you're not hitting SC5, or maybe you're hitting SC5 but you want to hit SC10, whatever it is. And we have the tendency to say, I only got 2 challengers this month. Your impact on those 2 challengers could change their life. Like, it's not only 2 people. It's not only 1 person. That's your person. That is your person that is trusting you, took your hand, and wants you to help them with their why. Like, this all goes back to our challengers and their whys, because we have to dig in the exact same way for our business. We all had to do that on a personal level to even get to this point. And some of us still are. Like, I still am, always. But that's something that I think, if we're always relating what we're going through in this business, especially your why, back to our challengers, it's just going to help them grow, which, when you help other people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. So if you keep helping people, that one person that you got, that one person that said, yes, I'll do this with you. If you wrap your arms around them and you dig into their why and what they want, whether it's to lose 10 pounds or 100 pounds, and you help them get that, then God, the universe, whoever, is going to entrust you with more people to keep doing it. Because if you aren't grateful for that one person, no one's going to give you any more. No one's going to trust you with more. When you get your first coach or your first 8 coaches and go diamond, I have news for everyone. When you hit diamond, which you will someday, that's when the real work begins. And I have no doubt that when I hit 5-star or 10-star or whatever star above that it's just going to get harder. It's never going to get easier, guys. Like, this is part of the journey. We're just going to grow. If you're doing your personal development, we're just going to grow with it and get better at what we're doing. So none of us are experts by any means, obviously, but that whole sprout thing, and sitting down every morning and writing out what your sprouts are, that I did work out today. I did invite 5 people. I did do my personal development. I did plug into a team call. I did add value to someone's life. I did text my husband and tell him I love him and to have a great day. I did, pay attention during swim practice and not be on my phone. Like, things like that are really important. And if you mow them down and make them not important, you're constantly going to be sad. You're constantly going to be frustrated. You're constantly going to be starting over, because you're never going to be good enough. So it has to start with that, and that little thing will grow into something really big. So we need to be grateful for those little things. And then another thing that Kelley touched on that I wrote down is a chapter out of the book that we're reading in our Maxwell group that Brenda recommended this month for us. I don't have it in front of us. You can jump on, Brenda, and tell Kelley the name, but I don't know. I'll tell you later. But there it is. What keeps you up at night? Like, your biggest dreams and fears. And you would love it, Kelley, if you haven't read it. It's an excellent book, and it is on the religious side, so I can't say it's for everyone. But it had this whole chapter called The Dip, which was awesome because, well, first of all, there's another book that isn't religious called The Dip. So you can read a whole book on the thing. It's called The Dip. I don't know who wrote it, but I'm getting it after I read this chapter because, you know, we talk about hills and valleys and the seasons of life and the seasons of your business and seasons of everything. So, you know, it's not going to stay, we talked about this on a call the other week, like it's not going to stay winter forever. Spring's coming, summer's coming, like there's going to be a different season. But this talks about the dip and how it's coming, like the dip is coming. So you might be in the dip right now. Like I feel like I've been in the dip for a week and it's not like a bad thing. It's not, but listen to Kelley, like she has, you know, her mom is sick and someone passed away and she's pregnant. And it's, sometimes it just feels like it's one thing after another. And the best thing listening to Kelley that I just love is, did any of those things say, I'm just going to take a step back from this business. I'm just going to take a break. I'm just going to not invite this month. No, she has a why. She has a goal. It doesn't matter what is happening around her because let's get real. If she worked in a job outside of the house where she was expected to be there 9 to 5 every day or had a corporate position, would she get to say, I'm just going to take this month off? Like, you can go ahead and keep paying me, but I'm going to have to take some time to digest all this. No, because that's not the way the real world works. And this is the real world. Like, I think that's the separation between the hobby versus career. Like, and it's okay if you're a hobby coach, but a hobby coach feels okay backing off every once in a while and saying, it's not really working out for me. I've got a lot going on. I'm going to have to take a step back. And when you're in that situation, though, you're just going to constantly shoot yourself in the foot when your why really matters. Because when you have to come back into it the next month, that doesn't mean you have to be perfect every month. That's not what I'm saying. But when you unplug and when you're in and out, in and out, in and out, that shows to everyone around you. That shows to your coaches. That shows to your challengers. If you don't have any coaches and challengers, that's why, because they see you in and out on Facebook. They don't see any consistency. They're not getting any consistent invites. My people know I'm going to harass the crap out of them until they sign up. And I'm not, in my head, I'm not bothering them. They just know it's coming. They're like, oh, this girl, she'll hit me up on June 1st. If I don't say yes on May 1st. So I know I'm going to hear from her again. And I just leave it like that. I'm like, if this is not your month, that's fine, girl. Ask me any questions. Talk to me. I'll just keep you updated of when my next group is starting. Like, it's not even an option. Like, I will keep you updated. But that's what I'm talking about, the consistency. But the dips, like, she's had the dips. She's had things going on. But you just got to keep going through them. Because if you stop at them, then there you are. You're in the dip. You're in the bottom of the hole. You're stuck there forever. And I just posted, I'll post it in all of Team Ignite, but it was Maxwell Minute. I don't know if you watched that, Kelley, but I
just subscribed to it.
Okay, so today's word was surrender. It's literally 1 minute. 1 minute of PD a day, guys. You can do it. And he was talking about surrendering and waving the white flag and how so many people throw it in so easily. Like, things get a little tough. Things get a little hard. Things get little challenging. And they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And this is the perfect example of a business where people do that, because this business is not easy. No one here is claiming that it's easy. Like, it's hard. And that's why the people that stick with it and do grow and do learn and are continuously advancing themselves, that's why they're rewarded. That's why they make these incredible incomes in such a short amount of time. That's why someone like Summer Tucker has made $1 million in network marketing, because she had the dip. She had her husband deployed. She had to give, birth to a baby at home. She had, constant issues where she could have just surrendered and thrown in the flag, but she didn't. She just kept going. And she's one of hundreds of stories. Like Kelley said, you go to Summit and it's just story after story. I mean, people that have these amazing stories don't compare yourself to them, like she said, because you'll hear stories like, someone was homeless, you know, I think it's Mindy Winder was like pretty close to homeless when she like went all in with coaching, and, you know, her why was, I don't want to be homeless. That's a pretty big why. So that, but I mean, and now I think she's made $1 million. I think she's in the Millionaires Club, but I mean, these incredible stories. And, Sarah is not on this call, but she made a video that I watched today, and she said the same thing that we say over and over. And she said, why not me? Like, she really started thinking about it, and she had a goal to hit diamond by June 1st. And she wrote me and she said, there's no way I'm going to hit that goal, but I'm not saying, but I know that I'm going to hit it. I'm just not going to hit that goal. And I am committed to success. Like, I am committed to succeeding. And reading that makes any coach's day. Like, that's all I want to read. Like, I don't care if you're going to hit a certain rank by a certain day. Just her saying, like, I am committed to succeeding at this. That's what you have to say. You just have to say it. Say it till you believe it. Like, and if you don't believe it, write your coach and talk to them. Talk it out. Write your why down. Make a video of your why. Reach out to other coaches on other teams. Like, connect with someone that is no different. I mean, we're all unique individuals. We all have the possibility to make this happen. But don't ever say, well, I can't do that. That's her story, or that's her. I mean, we're all so different, and we can all make it happen. Like, not that I don't care, but I don't care what your story is. Like, it doesn't matter to making you a successful person. You all have a very unique story, and you all have a unique why. And, you know, the why I really struggled with for a long time. And it wasn't until I started talking about my vision, which is a different way to put it, and that might help someone on the call listening, is really having a vision for my life and what I wanted it to look like. And recently Summer's given me a hard time because I used to tell her that I was already living my perfect day. I was like, well, I work from home, and I have 3 kids, and they're healthy, and I have a husband that makes a good income, and we have a nice house, and I'm already living my perfect day. And I think she let me, like, humored me with that for a while, but, you know, she kept pushing me, and she's like, really? Because then, like, why do you want to make 6 figures? Like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be this rank? And it took me a while to really dig into it of why I did. And a lot of it, like, I would love for Matthew not to have to work in a cubicle his whole life. Like, I love Kelley talking about the time and, like, what she would want to do with her husband, or having his dream job, which she already helped him create. But, like, if Matthew could do whatever he wanted, and it might not happen, it's not going to happen this year, it might not happen in 5 years, but 10 years from now, wouldn't it be nice if he was doing whatever he wanted and my income was completely supplementing and helping support our family? Or if I was able to tuck money away and pay for all my kids to go to college without having any loans. I have too many coaches on this call right now that are up to their eyeballs in student loans, and to make my kids not have to go through that because I didn't have to would be amazing. Like, that's a big why, like, to not have them have that on their shoulders. But we're going to get cut off. Do you have any last words, Kelley?
Thanks so much. I really, I just think the key thing is to share it. Like, everyone, I think, on the team, and even on my team, to be okay sharing it. It matters. You're looking for the people that are looking for you.
Yes.
And if you don't share who you are, it won't inspire others, And so I think don't be afraid of it, But thanks so much for letting me come and speak.
Of course. Thanks for doing it. I appreciate it.